Yeah.
everybody's been talking about if TikTok is going to get banned in the United States. So the reason for this whole thing is that TikTok is a company that is associated with ByteDance, and ByteDance is headquartered in China, and China is shady. Okay, but let's talk about the United States is shady too, right? Because the TikTok CEO has been going in front of Congress, and Congress is grilling him on data
Mhm.
privacy rights, on if the Chinese have the ability to
Because
spy
they
on
care.
American citizens. Yeah, exactly. The TikTok CEO being like, I mean, how is this any better than the United States spying on people through Google? Which is exactly what this Al Jazeera article is. The thing that's a real bummer about China is that they censor the crap out of the internet. We all know China has a large number of human rights violations. The Chinese Communist Party does shady things. So, it is a concern, and I understand why it is being brought up in front of Congress and why they are proposing this ban. But I think that we should chat about, you know, what is
Actually.
what is actually going on? What is the real root of the issue here? Because when I hear say that they are worried about China harvesting data from citizens, I'm like, are you really though? Because here's the thing, you guys, there are independent companies that already harvest and sell data, like Cambridge Analytica, which we should all know by now because of the whole Facebook scandal. So if China really wanted to buy your data, they could do it. They could find somebody that has it. So there's
Mhm.
actually a bigger issue going on here. And the bigger issue is the ability for ByteDance to run psychological manipulation on the American public. At least that's what I think is the big threat is the potential for the Chinese government to put propaganda in front of young minds. I have heard rumors that inside of China, because the Chinese government has so many freedom law violations, as in not freedom, that they have done all sorts of restrictions on what can actually be presented to the population of China inside of TikTok, and that people there are seeing educational videos.
Mm.
And I don't know if that is true or not because I don't know what the heck is going on in China. So take that with a grain of salt. A big part of this discussion is like, okay, they are creating a super generation on their side
They're getting
and
smarter, we're getting dumber.
they're feeding us twerk videos. And the seduction of TikTok is that they have figured out the human condition that everybody wants to be seen and popular and famous. And they use that as a sort of crack cocaine in their product to suck people in who are just dying for that validation. Your
Mhm.
videos go far. We would know because we refuse to do TikTok, even though we know more people would find us.
Yep.
It's hard to gain an audience unless you have that magic algorithm in TikTok pushing your content, which they have figured out. Let's chat for a minute about what is called the Restrict Act. So we know that TikTok is an issue. I mean, data privacy, sure, sure. But also, it is more like, this psychological manipulation tool for the
Yeah.
public in Chinese hands. Of course, we do the same thing.
Mhm.
So they are proposing this Restrict app. It is a piece of legislation that could ban apps or services that pose a threat to national security and have connections to certain foreign countries. So that is very vague. At any moment, they could be like, we don't like Japan. So no more of that app from Japan. Goodbye. They're kind of trying to put the CEO of TikTok into a position where he has to make a decision. So the options right now are TikTok is going to get banned or TikTok is going to dissociate from ByteDance and they're going to put a separate headquarters here in the United States as a US company, put their database on Oracle, and we will have control over
Now, let's specify when you say we will have control over.
The
We say
government, the
we.
government, the government. Let's just make sure that we all keep an eye on this Restrict Act. This is something that is actively rolling out, and everybody in the United States should be watching this and paying attention to it because it has the ramifications of something like the Patriot Act, where this could essentially infringe on our Fourth Amendment right, First Amendment right. And we could become China while trying to not be China. We will start banning internet access to apps and all sorts of crap and become the thing that we hate. So we got to be really careful not to go down that route. It does not solve the problem that we have with the internet right now. What we really need to talk about is how these user generated content platforms should not be owned by any government power. And that is where the idea, the Web3 idea of decentralization comes in because the internet should be fair and accessible and by the people for the people everywhere globally.
This is not a good look for the US, I don't think at all, and it's definitely headed in the wrong direction. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's really scary. I am thankful that TikTok is in it because I think that's why it has so much buzz. Content creators who don't care about decentralization whatsoever are seeing how this could potentially impact them. Certainly, they're not seeing the major effect that it has, like freedom of speech and the censorship aspect of it, but hopefully people are starting to understand that a bit more. But this is definitely concerning, and this is why we're out here doing what we do and building and trying to make sure that people own their data. They can say what they want. They can act how they want on the internet, just to be a good human and call your representative, reach out to them. Do not let this pass.
I believe we can cohabit on this planet with different cultures and ideas, and maybe that's an idealistic outlook, but I think communication is important and discourse is important.